As Keller Sutherland drives home from school in South Carolina, she notices one of her former pupils, Cameron Simonchik, cycling along the highway. Immediately sensing that something is amiss and that he needs assistance, she pulls over to investigate. What she discovers shocks her. Ever since Sutherland became a school teacher, her commitment to her students has gone, by her own admission, way above the duties of her job and the time she spends with children inside the classroom. In fact, the general happiness of each and every one of her pupils is genuinely important to her. For instance, in a video posted on Facebook by Greenville County Schools in February 2019, Sutherland explained exactly what motivates her as an educator. She said, "When I see myself as a teacher, I just go far beyond the classroom. I truly care for these kids." Sutherland, who has 2 children, feels a strong bond with her students. Teachers often spend a lot of time with kids, sometimes even more than their own parents. So it's important for teachers to care about both the kids' feelings and their learning. She teaches at Ellen Woodside Elementary in Pelzer, South Carolina. The school has students from kindergarten to 5th grade and offers many tools to help them learn. For example, there's a media center with lots of books, computers in every classroom, and a gym. Kids also have outdoor play areas. There are science and computer labs, and students can use laptops and iPads. The school has many programs like exercise classes and music clubs to help kids explore their interests. There are also clubs for reading and other creative activities. After-school care and tutoring are available too. Ellen Woodside Elementary has won awards like the Palmetto Silver Award and the Exemplary Writing School Award. It's also a safe kids school. 5 teachers at the school are nationally certified. With students, of course, at the center of Ellen Woodside Elementary's vision, the school's goal is to create a positive learning environment, and with 47 professional staff members, there are plenty of people on hand to guide the children along what can be challenging journeys. It's worth noting, too, that Ellen Woodside Elementary aims not only to foster academic intelligence but also to arm its kids with essential life lessons. As it writes on its website, students should be provided with a curriculum that is founded on basic skills, is relevant, and incorporates real-life experiences as enriched with higher-order thinking and problem-solving. However, these real-life lessons are not just important for the students, but they're for the adults too. And there's perhaps no one better to vouch for this than first-grade teacher Sutherland. That's because when she was driving home from Ellen Woodside Elementary one day in February 2019, she noticed something unusual on the highway and had to put her skills to the test. It's fair to say that this particular day had started out pretty rough for Sutherland, as she described in a Facebook post in February. Leading up to this moment, it was a day that just didn't seem to be going well. It was a day I felt I wasn't making a difference with my students, a day I felt I was failing at everything. I simply texted a few friends and asked for a prayer. But some relief came when a meeting that she had expected to attend was canceled, and instead, she headed home early. She explained, "As I left work, I looked forward to going home and resting." And yet, a relaxing evening wasn't on the cards for the teacher. So while Sutherland made the drive home from school, she decided to make a call to her husband, and as the teacher chatted away, she looked out of the window and saw a young boy. There was something alarming about the child, though, who was wildly cycling his bicycle alongside the cars on the highway. So Sutherland relayed the unusual sight to her husband over the phone. As she recalled to eMystery in February, "I just told my husband, I said, there's a small child on his bicycle riding down the road," and the educator was understandably concerned. After all, anyone, let alone a young person cycling on a busy highway, could be in imminent danger. Then Sutherland was later concerned her spouse, continuing, "I'm not sure what's going on, but I feel like I just need to turn around and see what's going on." So the worried teacher immediately spun her car around and started driving back towards the boy to see if she could help. However, as Sutherland approached the young child, she realized that she actually knew him. 7-year-old Cameron Simonchik had, in fact, been a pupil in her class the previous year. But the question remained, how had the little boy ended up riding his bicycle alone along a busy stretch of road? While in an interview with Greenville County Schools, Sutherland explained what had happened next. She said, "I immediately pulled up, rolled down the window, and I just asked him, 'Cameron, what are you doing here in the road? There's heavy traffic, what are you doing?' But at first, the boy's response was vague. First off, Simonchik looked frightened, pedaling frantically. And although the boy slowed to a stop when he saw Sutherland, he nevertheless didn't provide much explanation for his strange behavior. All Simonchik would say, in fact, was that he was heading to his grandmother's house. However, something didn't quite sit right with his former teacher. For one thing, having taught Simonchik the year prior, Sutherland had a pretty good idea of this character. The teacher told Greenville County Schools, "I knew that Simonchik followed directions. He wasn't a child who would just leave the house riding his bike in heavy traffic." Understandably determined to get to the bottom of why Simonchik was cycling out on the highway alone, the teacher started questioning the student. I said, "Cameron, does your dad know you left the house?" Sutherland explained. He said, "No." So that was my second red flag that something was going on. It was at this point that Sutherland started to get a bit more sense out of Semenchik. You see, for the boy, the day had started out like any other. He'd gone to school in the morning as normal and had stayed there until the afternoon. But when the 7-year-old returned home, he noticed something gravely wrong. After Semenchik entered his house, he walked through their kitchen, and there he found his father unconscious and lying on the floor. But Semenchik had known exactly what he needed to do. His father has a medical condition with which the young boy is familiar. "My dad has diabetes and has these episodes, and whenever it happens, his brain can't work," Semenchik explained to WSPA. Diabetes is a relatively common disorder that causes the body to struggle with producing insulin, which can lead to increased levels of glucose in the blood. The effects of the condition range from manageable symptoms such as sweating and an increased appetite to serious seizures, and in some cases, even death. Semenchik then had known that his dad's life could be in danger and that he needed to act quickly. So the pupil's first instinct had been to grab his father's cell phone and call 911 for urgent medical assistance. But the screen had been locked and he didn't know the passcode. So what else could the youngster do? Thinking on his feet, Semenchik's next instinct had been to get help. And so he had called on his neighbors, but neither of them had been around. The little boy had found himself in a situation that could easily have sent any adult into a panic, never mind a young child. But regardless, he pressed on. The only other person Semenchik could think up to help was his grandmother, but she lives 5 miles away down a busy highway, which was made all the busier by commuters heading home from work. Knowing his dad was in desperate need of help, however, the young boy had left on his bicycle and started pedaling as quickly as he could. Semenchik's bike ride to his grandma's house had taken him onto Route 25, which at that time had been overloaded with traffic. The young child had apparently sped across 4 lanes of flowing cars, weaving between the vehicles to try and get his dad the help that he so desperately needed. However, as luck would have it, Sutherland had been heading home from school along that very stretch of highway. And although she hadn't immediately recognized Semenchik, she nevertheless realized a boy was in need of assistance. Not only that, but instead of ignoring him, the teacher had turned around and pulled over. So as Semenchik explained to his former teacher, Sutherland, what was happening, 2 more worried motorists also stopped to offer their help. The strangers contacted emergency services while the teacher tried to reassure the boy. And as it happened, the assistance that Semenchik needed came just in the nick of time. Ambulance crews and firefighters quickly responded to the place for help. Semenchik gave them clear instructions on how to reach his house as the boy recalled to WSPA. The ambulance came, the firemen came, and the firemen were really nice to me. After the first responders arrived successfully at Semenchik's house, they administered the insulin injection that his father needed. Then they used crackers, which Sutherland happened to have brought earlier in the day, to help stabilize the man's blood sugar levels. Sutherland later commended Semenchik's bravery in a February 2019 interview posted on Facebook by Greenville County Schools, saying that he had remained calm and brave throughout the ordeal. But the teacher was nevertheless grateful that she had chanced upon the situation at just the right moment. After all my stopping to assist Semenchik, she had provided some much-needed help during this time of need, Sutherland continued. Semenchik felt very helpless, and the only way he could get help was to ride his bike 5 miles to his grandma's house. It was lucky that the teacher found him when she did. Who knows what could have happened if she hadn't seen him on the highway? Even though Semenchik didn't make it to his grandma's, I'm so grateful I saw him when I did. This moment felt like it was meant to happen, like God had a plan. This incident made me think about my job as a teacher. I realized that teaching is not just about what happens in the classroom. Semenchik's bravery showed me that. He tried so hard to help his dad, and I'm proud of him. Semenchik couldn't call 911 because he couldn't unlock his dad's phone. Not all phones let you call for help when they're locked. That's why we teach kids how to make emergency calls on different phones at Ellen Woodside Elementary School. I'm still amazed by Semenchik's strength and determination. His dad is doing great now, all thanks to his brave son.